Hello, this is Marcus Frankberg, the developer of Warnoy, and in this video we're going to take a look at the game's latest patch, so without further ado, let's go. So it's been another 2 weeks and another 4 elite units added into the game, and I think the elites are a nice addition to the game. You can choose to play with or without them via the unit manager. And if you play with them, you can really build up your army around an elite unit. Like for example, the big artillery piece. You can have a turtley army slowly moving forward, chipping away at the enemy and doing poke damage. But you could easily be overwhelmed by a swarmy army that can close in quickly. Or you could try to sneak a stealth infantry unit through the enemy line and take out a high-ranking unit and snatch a victory out of a losing game. So the new elite units in this patch are quite spicy. I think mechanically they add some really interesting things to the game. Thematically I might have gone a little bit overboard with some of them, maybe. But I'm curious to see what you guys think. And then we have balance changes. Command post move speed buff from 1 to 2. So the command post was quite hard to get into position, and once you get into position it will really tax your micro skills, having to micro 2 places at once. So this buff would help a little bit with the first problem. Also thematically it's nice that everything that looks like a truck now have 2 movement speed. So all strike deploy delay buff from 32 seconds to 16 seconds. This is a highly experimental one, so we will keep an eye on this. But I would say that it feels much better, and that it feels like you can do the plays and counter plays with strikes. So let's say you push out with your army, and the enemy responds with deploying supply drop on his army and cluster them up to get the maximum effect. And then you answer with an airstrike, dealing splash damage on his units. With the slower deploy times, the fight will most likely be decided before the strike response could arrive. And it also feels a little bit more like you are doing plays with the strikes, as before it could feel like you throw out strikes at random and hope that the enemy will walk into them. Yeah, so we will see how this works. We also have a new hit chance calculation system for unit special rules and strikes that deal multiple attacks. So for example, let's say a unit that says target takes 3 attacks, it will work exactly the same way as 3 units firing at the unit. An example of this would be, let's say you have a special rule that says target take 9 attacks. That would be 108% with the old system, so it would be 100% hit chance. But 9 units firing could actually all miss. So it has to be a diminishing curve like this. So the affected units are the missile strike and the stealth infantry unit. So the missile strike has the same number of attacks, but with the new system it goes from net hit chance of 36 to 32. The stealth infantry has received a buff to its special rule, so it now deals 8 attacks. But 8 attacks is 64 now, so it's a 16% net hit chance buff. Okay, and then next up I will start working on having the AI using elites. And I think the AI is quite good, so I will be careful with it. But and I also think that it's more fun with a swarmy AI rather than the AI that have a few elites with impeccable micro. But since the elites are part of the game, I think it's really important that they can pop up in your custom games. And lots of development time has gone into the multiplayer and custom games and the AI. But I would like to look over the single player aspect of the game a little bit. I would like to add some elite challenges to the game, and also do some other improvements, but more on that later. So yeah, I think that's all for this time. Keep the feedback, keep up the feedbacking, and thank you so much for watching. Cheers.